Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night from wherever you are and however you may be watching. Thank you very much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. And we have another vape review. I picked up a RDA from Vapor's Cloud. It is the Asgard Mini. Now, the Asgard actually comes in two sizes. There's the Mini and then there's the normal Asgard. And the normal Asgard, the only difference is a larger juice well. It comes in this nice little bag. I actually bought the display model a little bit cheaper just because the color I wanted was not in. They didn't have it in a box. So I bought the display model. Never been used. They just use it to show it off before someone purchases it. So let's get down to the desk and take a look at what is in this. Right. So inside this little pouch here, I also have some coils here, some Clapton coils. Now, I used to wrap my own coils way back about 5 to 7 years ago, and in all honesty, I'm just kind of done wrapping coils. So I apologize. This camera's not being very kind to me right now. But these are Clapton coils, pre-wrapped. You can buy them in any vape shop. You can buy them online if you don't like wrapping your own coils. I hear these are quite good. These are 0.33 ohms. We will be running two of these in here, and we'll definitely ohm out everything. Check it out before we do it, just to make sure we're all safe. I'll show you what I do on that. So let's get into this little bag and see what is all in it. Everything is nicely packaged and everything. I just really like that bag. So it's a really good packaging. So we have the normal kits that we get here with some O-rings and a wrench and a couple screws. We also get an additional chuff cap in case you want to use this one instead of the provided one. And then we have the RDA itself. Now, I really like the design of these. I think they're quite cool. So this is what the actual RDA here looks like. Now, I got the purple one. It's kind of the one I wanted. Now, the cool part about this is it's actually not really like your traditional from what I've seen, RDA. And the reason for that is it has this bottom piece here, and you can see how loose it is. And that's because this actually comes off, and it's actually kind of a protector that you put down when you screw down your RDA into your mod. A lot of times, you get the juice leak and everything like this, especially when you're dripping and using RDA. So this is kind of a nice little addition here to kind of, again, catch any of that juice. It adds another product that you have to clean on this, but in all honesty, I think it's a really cool idea. And then you don't have to use this, by the way. It's completely optional. And then you have the traditional RDA that you're used to seeing, where the bottom, we'll just screw it in here to the G-Priv. We'll put the cap on it here in a minute. And then you have the traditional looking RDA in the inside. Now, my RDAs that I've been used to, I'll show you the last RDA that I kind of used and I'm still using to this day, is the old Doge, which is right here, the classic Doge. And one thing we'll notice between the two, if we look at them, the Doge uses the classic 3-pin, which was kind of the original style RDAs back in the day, where you've got the center pin where the two coils have to meet, to get that chart, and then you got the other sides of the coils that go on either end to complete the circuit. Now, what I like about the new age RDAs, from what I've been looking at when I was at the vape shop, is that you don't have to go through a center pin anymore. It actually has two pins on either side, and now there's different sorts of alignments and things like that depending on the RDA that you go with. But what I really like about this is you don't have to worry about trying to feed that center pin with both coils, kind of using that screwdriver or Allen wrench or whatever to kind of just yank those coils around to get them lined up with the air flows on the side and things like that. With these, you've got two pins per side for each coil, and it makes it really easy to kind of put it in here. Now, again, like I said about the Asgard, it has a really deep juice well, which you can kind of see here as I tilt it to the side here. And the difference between the mini and the larger one, which is significantly larger, it's about 2 times the size of that. It's about 2 times as big. The difference is it just has a larger juice well, larger cap top on the top, but the inside guts are exactly the same. Again, just a larger juice well, larger cap. Now, what's really cool about this is we will actually be loosening the screws right here on the side, right here. So we'll loosen these screws here. We'll put our coils in, and then we'll tighten them back down. And the great part about this is the coils are going to be near the top, right? Because they're going to be right here near the center. The cotton's going to be able to come down and into the juice well, which, you know, can capture quite a bit of juice down there. And the air holes on this is actually quite nice. As you can see, they're very high because, again, you're most likely going to have your coils way up here in the stratosphere of this thing. And then so the airflow is going to go right across there very nicely across your coils. And again, like I said, large juice well, which is always great. Now, the other nice thing about these pre-built Clapton coils are, let me get 2 of them out here for you. When they're wrapped, now what's really cool about this is they wrap them with very, very long leads on them here. So they give you quite a bit to work with on the lead end. And what we'll just basically do, oh goodness, I pulled 3 of them out. Only need 2. Thanks. You can go back in there. Goodbye. What's really nice about this is we can clip these down to size based on how tall. Like, look how much extra you get there. You clip them down to size, and then you can kind of figure out how much you need. So these are really nice. From what I've been told from the folks at the vape shop is they're pretty tight as is. Back in the day when I was wrapping my own coils and some other bought coils that you get, you've got to, you know, heat them up, which I will do on this, but then you kind of have to pinch them together because the wrap is not that tight. These are pretty tight wraps already, so we'll probably leave them just the way they are. So yeah, so let me get these in here, let me get the cotton fed through, and we'll take a look at it once it's already built. All right, so we've got our coils on here. If you can see them right there, they're just side by side. They're going to line up great. Now, one thing that if you watched my latest podcast here on YouTube, you will notice that I was talking a lot about vape and vape safety, specifically that vaping should be a way for you to quit smoking, specifically getting off cigarettes and then eventually getting off nicotine and vaping altogether. Because anytime you're inhaling something, well, guess what? It's not safe, but it's a safer alternative. It's a healthier alternative for you. But one thing I talked about is making sure that you're safe when you're doing things. So one thing I always do with any coil that, any coil whatsoever, may it be a tank, which you can buy, like this, and it's pre-done already for you. Any coil that I use before I put power through it, I always plug it on this, and this is just it's reading out the ohms in the device, and what it's going to tell me is 1, what ohm rating it is, and then 2, if there's a short in the cable itself. So if I turn this on here, it's at a 0.164, which is absolutely fine. And then what we would do from there is there is actually a chart, and you can find these online on any sort of vaping site. And I'll put it up on the screen. But what we do here is we want to check that ohm rating and see what the range of wattage, etc., for our batteries. Because ultimately, if you start working your ohms so low into the really sub ohms, you really have to be concerned about the batteries inside of it and the power you're putting through the coils, but also that strain on your battery. Because a few years ago, and even with the vape crisis going on today, you want to make sure you're very, very careful with these devices, because though the newer devices that you can get today, they do have this sort of short protection. But you don't want to put yourself in that position just in case something fails. You don't want one of these devices exploding or something like that, or catching the coils and cotton catching fire, etc. So just make sure you check your ohms before you vape, even on pre-purchased coils right out of the factory packaging. I still like to check them, though I've never had an issue with a coil out of factory packaging. It is mass produced, so there's always a chance of some sort of defect, and I would rather be safe than sorry. So I always pop them on here. I check my ohms and before I even put any power through them whatsoever. So I'm going to get this back on the mod. We're going to get cotton through it. Well, first we're going to light up the coils real quick, check for any hot spots. I'll show you that, and then we'll get cotton in it and take a vape. All right, so we've got it all loaded up here. I checked my ohms. I'm running two 18650 batteries, so I should be able to go somewhere in the range for this particular device, in the ballpark of about 140 to 160 is the high end, kind of, with two 18650 batteries. They both are 24 amps each, is what they run. However, I like to kind of go under that. I just kind of go with 20, and 160 would be 40 amps. So I'm going at 150 right now. So again, staying well within that safe range of the device here. Again, you need to know if your device runs parallel and things like that. But basically what I try to do is 18650s, which is my which is the normal batteries out there for vaping, your classic batteries like this. With these particular devices, I try to just kind of go under and say 20 amps. So double it puts me around 40, so 160 should be fine. And if we look at this here, we'll light it up. We have nice even, it's hard to see with this camera because of its lighting area, but we have a nice even light all around the entire coil. No hot spots whatsoever detected. The coils are a little bit close, so I am going to let them cool off here and try to move this coil on the side just to pull it out a little bit. We'll put the cotton in and have a vape on it. All right, we've got the coils in there. We've got the cotton pulled through the coil. We've got it all juiced up, and she's ready to go. So I'm going to put this cap on here, and we'll take a look at what she can do. All right, here we are, the Asgard all put together, all up here, all ready to go. Now, one thing I will say about this particular RDA is I'm not sure how much I really like this chuff cap. It does sit in there nicely. If you push it down, it locks in there kind of well. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not loose or anything. But I will say it's definitely not my favorite design on the top. It looks cool, but it's definitely not my favorite design. Now we've got our air holes lined up directly across the coil, which is what you want to do to provide the cooling, and pull that your breath right across those coils to get a good hit. So let's take a look at what you can do. Again, I am running, it's 0.164 on the ohms, and we're running at 150 watts, which is well within that safety. So here we go. Now I haven't, woo! It's actually a juice of my own flavor that I have not let steep for a while, so it is a little bit harsh, but I'm actually going to reduce the heat a little bit. I haven't hit an RDA for quite some time, and RDAs, they chuck a lot harder than your traditional tanks. The tanks don't chuck as hard. This thing chucks pretty good. So let's try again. Okay, after a few hits and a large coughing spree, I need to realize that I'm still working my way off of cigarettes. Whew. I was not ready to hit an RDA again. Woo. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. All right. Woo. I'm not going to die. Not today. Well, the cloud's a little pathetic. And that's because I did turn it down to 100 because I am not used to the chucking of an RDA. So I apologize for that, but I am not in that range yet of hitting this at where it should be, which again is around between 120 and 150. But I don't want to sit here and hack a lung out. But first off, I want to say my sweet raspberry juice is on point. Okay, that was my first go at a raspberry juice, and I was warned that they come out bitter. That tastes pretty dang good. Okay, that tastes pretty dang good. Now, as far as the Asgard's concerned, this is a really good RDA. It's really easy to build on with the two pins on either side. For you to build on. Really easy to build on. Probably one of the easiest RDAs I've ever built on. Again, I haven't built an RDA probably in 5 years, so definitely recommend it there. As far as the design, I like the look of it, but again, this top cap kind of bothers me a little bit, but that's fine. I can get over that. I'm also not a huge fan of the chuff cap it comes with. I may look to get a different one. I'm not sure what I would get. But you know, any little chuff cap will fit in there, the larger version. But we'll see if there's another one that I kind of like that I might put in there instead. But those are my really only two negative critiques about this. I think it's really nice. I like the fact that it's got a big juice well in there. I'll hold it up to this camera, which is a little nicer. I love the fact that it has a big juice well in there, which is great. I think I just dripped juice on myself there. I saw it in the camera. I did. That's fine. But yeah, overall, great device. Again, if you're coming off of if you're coming off of cigarettes as I am, again, what I would strongly suggest is sticking with the tanks. Again, you're probably not going to be quitting as easy on the tanks, just because the sensation that you get from the heat of smoking a cigarette is not exactly the same. But again, the harshness coming out of an RDA, especially these new age RDA, is quite a bit. So you may want to work into that, but definitely a good hit for me, someone who's nearly done on cigarettes. Definitely really cool. Really easy build. I would say this is definitely I would recommend this if you're looking for a new RDA, if you've been out of the market for a while. And again, get yourself some pre-built coils like these. These were really nice. Just clip the leads and put them in, and they're plug and play, which is really nice. Again, check your ohm readings on any coil that you use, just to make sure you're well within that safety range. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. Make sure you hit that like button if you did. Please do also consider subscribing. We do reviews whenever I get new vape products in, which hasn't been very often, but whenever I get one in, or get a hold of one from my friend or something, I will do a review on it. But again, the Asgard, I like it. Few design flaws that I don't like, but overall I think it's great. And I'm definitely going to be using it. It's definitely an upgrade from the old Doge. Definitely an upgrade from the old Doge. But guys, take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you next time. If I don't hack up a lung on another review. God, that raspberry's good.